Hello, my name is Gökhan. Today I'm going to present you a close reading on Machiavelli the Prince. My theme for this passage was fortune. The quote is, "But I do feel this. This is better to be rash than timid, for fortune is a woman, and the man who wants to hold her down must beat and bully her. We see that she yields more often to men of this stripe than to those who come coldly toward her. Like a woman, too, she is always a friend of the young, because they are less timid, more brutal, and take charge of her more recklessly." I want to underline some important words: feel, rash, timid, fortune, woman, beat, blue, bully, yields, coldly, brutal, charge, and recklessly. Uh, Now I will give some definitions for these words. Feeling is being aware of a person or something. Rash is acting without considering its possible consequences. Timid is showing a lack of courage, like being afraid of doing something. Fortune is chance or luck. Beating is striking repeatedly or violently. Bullying someone is seeking harm or intimidate or coerce. A friend is someone that we have a relationship with. Brutal is savagely violent. Recklessly means without regarding the danger or the consequences of one's actions in a rash way. Young means existing for a short time. Now I will make some connections about the theme fortune and the text. The writer starts his passage by saying, "I do feel this." Like he's trying to imply that now I will talk about how to take control over fortune. He uses two opposite words, rash and timid. And he believes that we need to be rash rather than timid because acting timid is not an acceptable action. Um, According to Machiavelli, doing something is always better than doing nothing, although it may have bad consequences. Uh, Later on, Machiavelli uses woman as a metaphor for fortune. In the passage, Machiavelli describes how to take control of a woman, and he thinks that women can be controlled with brutal and violent actions. They can be beaten or bullied to be controlled. Uh, According to Machiavelli, woman and fortune are very similar. So he thinks that uh, they can be fortune can be controlled in a similar manner. Uh, in this passage, it is implied that action should be taken to control a woman. By the way, fortune. So, according to him, fortune favors the bold, um, like the person who does everything to complete his purposes and doesn't care about any boundaries until they are satisfied. So, woman and fortune are very similar in this manner. Uh, According to Machiavelli, fortune can be controlled by acting upon it. Um, like similar to a woman, woman will like young people, and Machiavelli believes that acting rash is a sign of youngness. The text implies that if you do not do anything and leave everything upon, fortune may not come the way as you expect. The writer also means that fortune will be with you when you do something. Like you need to act uh, violent and rash to gain control over fortune. Fortune will be more friendly, helpful when you do something rather than do nothing. And like you shouldn't be timid. You should always um, be rash. You should be aggressive, violent, uh, according to Machiavelli, because that's the key to control a woman. Those the controlling a woman and controlling over our fortune are similarities in this text. Um, this text can be connected to other parts of the Prince. Machiavelli thinks that a leader needs prudence and such skills and abilities to control a society. Um, he thinks that we should be able to predict things before they happen, and we should act upon our predictions. But in this text, Machiavelli thinks that we should do something, we should rash, but it actually contradicts what he says earlier. So um, that's a important point. Now I will talk about the cultural part. In this text, the writer Machiavelli talks about violence towards women and how can it be used to control a woman. And he says that woman and fortune are two similar things, but in our daily life, violence towards any human being is not an acceptable thing. And every human being is protected by the law. So you cannot actually control someone with violence. It's an really bad action. We can give the example of violence towards women in Turkey. It's a highly condemned action. We can also say that like fortune cannot be controlled with acting without thinking. Like we should, at sometimes we should be really fast, but sometimes we should think and wait until we do something because we will face the consequences. We can give the example of the coronavirus. Like the authorities say that we should stay at home and do nothing until the virus passes, and we can't do something because we don't have any knowledge on this. Thank you for listening.